to the graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
I haven't seen one of these videos done on YouTube in a while, but I decided to do a Draw My Life. I grew up in Manhattan on the Lower East Side in a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood, but on the very edges of where I grew up there was Chinatown, the Jewish tenements, and Little Italy. I took it for granted and I thought naturally everybody grew up in such an ethnically diverse area. My family lived in the co-ops, but we were surrounded by projects on both ends. All my friends were either lower middle class or just plain poor. I was lucky enough for the first 13 years of my life to grow up with both of my parents and a mean older brother. We were raised Catholic and were very active in our church. When I was young, my family did a lot of traveling. We visited Puerto Rico, Jamaica, Dominican Republic, California, Florida, and other parts of the US. When I was a kid, I used to love carrying around a tape recorder. We would record songs off the radio, and me and my brother used to do sketches and do our own radio show. And oddly enough, my brother used to force me to tell stories, whether I wanted to or not. One moment you'd hear my brother say, "Tell a story," and then I'd say no. Then it would click, and by the time it came back on, I'd be crying and I'd be telling a story. I know my brother liked my stories, I just wished he found a different way to get them out of me. My parents separated for divorce just a month before I started high school. I was offered a scholarship to LaSalle Academy, my brother's alma mater. I was also accepted into the very elite Xavier School for Boys. But I was given an ultimatum and ended up going to Brooklyn Technical High School, one of the top 3 specialized public high schools in New York City. I'd always been good with my hands, so in high school I did very well in mechanical engineering. Our senior year we even developed a mechanical spider, which won awards at the New York City Science and Technology Expo and even an award from the Society of Women Engineers. I started college, but unfortunately life threw me a curveball and I wasn't able to finish. Following advice from my mother, I went into civil service. I was a school safety officer and even a correction officer down in Pennsylvania. Ultimately ended up being a correction officer for New York State. I ended up getting married and buying my own house, unfortunately in that order. When I found out just months after I bought the house that my wife was cheating on me, everything that I've worked for up to that point just started to crumble. Wounded romantically and working a 56-hour week to pay for a house that legally wouldn't be mine anymore, I fell in love with the woman that would eventually be the mother of my daughter. At that point in my career, I was working in a women's facility, and I fell for an inmate under my custody. Nothing happened while she was still in the jail, but when she got out and was off parole, she had found me online and we started to talk. Needless to say, when my employers found out about this, they weren't happy and I was fired. So I lost my marriage, I lost my house, and I lost my career. This was right around the time I found out she was pregnant with my daughter, so I decided to move up to Rochester and start a new life. Yet another setback arose when my daughter's mother's drug problem came back into play. The same drug problem that got her arrested and got her to meet me in the first place. One thing led to another and we both lost custody of our daughter. I for one have never tried, nor can I abide street drug usage. As a matter of fact, I even started living a sober lifestyle, even giving up alcohol altogether. During a stint of unemployment between unsatisfactory retail jobs, I started Two Strangers One Podcast. Initially, it was supposed to be just a vehicle to advertise my book, Double Jackpot, which I wrote right after my marriage fell apart. Fast forward 3 years, and now I do these stranger vlogs to draw in more listeners from YouTube to the podcast and the book. Luckily, I've gotten shared custody of my daughter back, and now I'm working on getting other aspects of my life back in order. Doing these vlogs have been very fun and cathartic at the same time. Thank you for taking your time and watching them. It means a lot to me. Don't be a stranger.